So we're calling this press conference to order. Thank you all so much for being here. Appreciate the media's presence. We have a great list of speakers lined up today. We have city leadership, transit leadership, and a community member and a representative from APD to talk with you today. We're going to be looking, as it were, in the rear view mirror on 2024 in this press conference, and we'll be looking to the road ahead in 2025. The transit system and ABQ RIDE had many successes, challenges, and we're also providing many solutions to handle what we've been seeing in the system this year. So before I pass it along to Kevin Soroso, the city's Chief Financial Officer, I want to note that there will be pull-asides available, so if you all would like to talk to any of our staff members and hone in on specific projects we've mentioned, the content will be really dense, so I would encourage that. There will also be a Q&A after with group photos, and you are more than welcome to go inside of our vans and buses that we have staged around us here today. So I will pass it on to Kevin, who is a huge car aficionado, a proud leader of the city, and he recently was the driver of our antique bus at the Twinkle Light Parade. So I'll hand it off to Kevin. Thank you all.
Good afternoon, folks. Again, Kevin Soroso, Chief Financial Officer, City of Albuquerque. So happy to be here today to talk about accomplishments. Have our whole team here. We've got an inventory of buses in the background so you can see what we run, what we do, and again, just super happy to be part of transit, happy to be here, and we're just going to reflect on this past year and everything that we've done and a little of what's to come from transit. So, day to day, this operation is on the front lines helping some of our most vulnerable in the community, folks that need transportation and have no other way to get to a job or get to school, get to medical appointments. And this team is here. We've got folks behind me that keep our drivers and our passengers safe. We've got our drivers, and you'll hear from a community member in a little bit who will talk about the courtesy and the politeness of our drivers attending to APS students as they learn how to navigate through the city on our transit system and get themselves to important places and continue to learn and prepare for life's journey ahead of them. A little bit about transit. We've got 12 divisions. We've got our planning division that works on routes, restructuring routes, and just setting us up to be the most efficient that we can be to get people where they need to be. Operations, obviously, operations entails getting these buses on the line, out the door, fueled, and down the road. Customer service, we've got folks that are available for calls. If the public needs assistance, they can call our customer service line. Fleet maintenance, this is kind of near and dear to my heart. I did come this year and spent an evening kind of hanging out with our fleet crew doing oil changes, and they walked me through all that they do with their preventative maintenance programs to keep these buses on the road for a long time. We do put a lot of miles on these buses. HR, critical role. HR plays a critical role right now. We are, and this will be a shameless plug for hiring, we need drivers, we need mechanics. Great career here at the city, great career path. You can start as a mechanic helper and work your way all the way up to mechanic 3, and even we've had folks go into supervisor roles who started in our tire shop. So HR helps us with that all along. We've got vacancies for drivers. HR has been coordinating with our marketing team and with our central HR to do hiring events. If you're looking for a job, come to a hiring event. We're doing rapid hires. We can get you in the seat of a bus, train you, even get you a CDL license. If you come in with just a regular driver's license, we'll get you in the seat of a bus and we'll get you moving around town. Safety, critical component for everything we do here at the city. Our safety team takes their job very seriously. Training, again, I touched on that a little bit. We'll train you. We'll train you to be a mechanic. We'll train you to drive a bus. IT, if anyone's been watching the news over the last year, we've increased our camera presence on our buses, and IT is critical in that role for us. So lots of opportunities here. Marketing, finance. I see some of our finance folks over here behind the cameras. I'm our CFO. I'm a CPA. I definitely have to do a shout out to finance, who keep the bills paid, keep us compliant with all of the grants that we get from the Federal Transportation Administration. So just a little highlight of all of our 12 departments, what they do. I'm a numbers guy, so let me throw some stats at you. We have 163 buses, and we run 23 bus routes, 2,870 stops, 20 art stations and 5 transit centers, 368 employees working out of 3 major transit facilities, and we have partners in safety with APD, Metro Security, and contract safety ambassadors. So again, I'm here just to kind of thank our team, tell you what we're about, what we've sort of accomplished in the last year, and I will hand it off to Leslie Keener, who, without her leadership and direction, we wouldn't be where we are today. She has really taken some initiative and really changed things here at Transit. We've got a different, since her arrival, we have a different environment. We've got different attitudes with our drivers, our customer service, our mechanics, and she's doing a lot of different things to change transit for the better and to make it a place that everyone wants to come and hang out and work. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Leslie, who gets the work done. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here today. As Kevin said, I'm Leslie Keener. I'm the transit director here at ABQ RIDE. Thanks, Kevin, for that introduction. I really do appreciate that. I really feel like we've been doing a lot over the last few years, and I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to be able to speak to you all about it. I first want to start off by giving a huge shout out to the entire transit team. It's with the staff that makes all of this possible and keeps the buses running. I'm really so proud of the year that we've had, and I'm really proud about every bus stop that we've cleaned, every bus that we've fixed, every route we've driven, every member of the public we've smiled at or said hi to, and everyone that we've been able to move across this city. Needless to say, we have a staff with drive, and that really is the inspiration for our new mission and value statement that's going to propel transit into 2025. You can see that to both my right, our mission, and then our core values is on my left. So it's no secret, transportation is a challenging industry, and as we've talked about over the last couple of years, there have been lots of issues that we've had to face and to overcome. Some of the challenges we are still dealing with, but it is an absolutely essential function for our community. It takes drive for our team to show up every day. They're on the front lines of the city. We truly do see it all, both the good and the bad, and have to deal with and help people out that are in some really rough situations. As Kevin mentioned, it is a vulnerable population that we are helping. We're not only improving our workplace culture to ensure this team has supports in place to perform at their best, but we're focused on continuing to clean up the system and to make improvements so that it is better for everyone who uses it. For our staff, we're working hard to foster a supportive culture. And this has included here recently planned staff appreciation events, and most notably, we hosted our very first bus rodeo, and we held a Thanksgiving potluck feast that included the entire department. These are both 2 events that have not happened in decades at Transit, and it really gave us the opportunity to bring the staff together and really celebrate all the success that we have had over the last few years, including a lot of the challenges that we have had to overcome. We're also soon to launch an internal leadership and mentorship program that's going to be focused solely on Transit's needs. With the change in culture, I am proud to announce our new mission statement. That mission statement is providing the community with safe, clean, and reliable transportation. And the mission is backed by our values, which are communicated by the acronym DRIVE, which I think is extremely fitting. The DRIVE stands for dependable, so people can count on us, and we can also count on each other as a team. R is for respect, to treat oneself and others with dignity, empathy, and with understanding. The I is for inclusive, so open to everyone, a culture where people feel truly supported. Value, to be useful and important to the public, which, as I said earlier, we are an essential function for the city of Albuquerque. And then finally, the E stands for excellence. So really pushing boundaries, having high quality, and continuing to improve upon our processes so that we can deliver an excellent service to the city. So this time last year, in 2023, we reported on our accomplishments for that year. You heard about a lot of things that we had going on, including software upgrades, our radio transitions, our short-term safety and security tactical plan, as well as our rapid hiring events and our vacancy rates. We were also right-sizing our service to staffing levels, which included a lot of service reductions in the amount of thousands of hours of service that we were having to cut back so that we could properly meet the needs of the community due to our staffing levels. So now we're currently at 65% of our pre-pandemic levels, and we were implementing APD transit safety officers, which you see behind me as well. They'll give you some updates here today. And then we had $43 million in federal grant awards that we spoke about, which I'll give you some updates on towards the end of this as well. So since then, we've continued to make busloads of improvements with some major milestones. Most notably, we moved the ABQ RIDE Forward Network study forward. It's currently under review with the final plan that will be submitted to council here in the coming weeks, and an implementation planned sometime next year, which will be dependent on our staffing levels. And then Uptown Connect, you'll hear more about that as well. It is finally fully funded, and we are in the hopes of breaking ground in the fall. We also rolled out a number of efforts for transit safety. We'll soon be receiving the results of our long-term security study, but I want to note that we didn't wait for that study to bring us the results. We were very active this year in reaching out, looking at other agencies and seeing what they were implementing, and then bringing that back to Albuquerque and tailoring it to our community and our community's needs. And I think that's why we are seeing such good feedback on the safety realm with our network. And then most notably, we really invested in making a huge visual difference with our system. And I'll talk a lot here in a minute about the cleanliness. So we've got a lot, as you can imagine, that I've just spoke about that we're going to cover. We won't be able to cover everything today, but as Maddie mentioned, we will do pullouts as you guys see fit to answer any other questions that you might have on particular projects. So I want to do a quick mission tie-in, and I'll go through and just kind of talk about the cleanliness of our system and what we've been doing here in 2024 to really just make that system look clean. In line with our missions, cleanliness is really important to the transit system. One, we're showing the people that we care about the system, and in turn, they will also care about the system. The first step toward a safe system is a clean system. If we don't care about it, why should anybody else? I don't expect the public to ride on something that I wouldn't ride in either, and because of that, I am very, I make sure that on a regular basis that myself and my team are getting out there and are hopping on the bus. And it's also a good opportunity for us to get new ideas of new programs, new processes, all these improvements that we can make to continue to make the system more useful and better for the public. We also get a lot of ideas from riders as we are writing about. Cleanliness has been a key focus for transit in 2024. You can see it on the streets. Both the public and the staff have noticed a change. Our Transit Advisory Board has made notable mentions of seeing just a vast difference in our stops. I want to first take a minute to talk a little bit about the Adopt a Stop program. This is a program that has been ongoing for several years, but here recently we have made some really great strides in it, and a lot of this has to do with Dwayne Baker, who is responsible for that program. We've seen major growth in it over the last year, and what the Adopt a Stop program is, it's an opportunity for volunteers to volunteer to help clean up our system, to take a stop and make it their own, on a weekly basis, to just make sure that it's all cleaned up, everything's been picked up. The program was founded in 2018. It now has over 100 adopted bus stops by the community. This includes a 9-year-old who adopted 2 stops, elderly individuals, several of our own ABQ RIDE staff members, which I think is just a great story. You work here, and we put in a lot of hours as employees of the transit community, but then to also, once you get off, go and take care of that system that you are employed with, I think just speaks wonders to those individuals. We also have the UNM Foundation and various local companies that volunteer. So thank you to those individuals that take time out of their life to help keep the system looking good. It's really amazing to see our community and our team volunteer and pitch in to keep our city clean. Talking about all of our bus stops, all of our art platforms now have epoxy flooring, new decals, and we're repainting them every 6 months or less just to keep up that appeal. We just recently replaced signs with updated branding. So those are the bus stop signs that say what the route is and that it is a bus stop. We've done this across the entire central route, which is Route 66, Route 140, 141, which is San Mateo and Jefferson, and the number 8, which is Manal, and then all of the signs downtown. And we'll be continuing that process as we go into 2025. One notable difference too, we have 10 bus stop maintenance employees. This is double the staff that we had last year on the bus stop maintenance side, which has also helped us to keep up with the cleanliness of these stops. And we've also painted 510 shelters, which I just think they look amazing. It really helps to make the stop pop and has helped with the cleanliness, and we'll continue to stay on top of those paintings as we see the need to make those improvements. At our Alvarado Transportation Center, which is our main hub downtown, we've done a lot of beautification improvements. This includes flowers being planted in the old fountain, new signage, including rules to ride that's posted all over the area, and new wayfinding signs that help people to find where our buses are, as well as where Amtrak and the Rail Runner are. LED lighting has been improved, which helps because it's brighter. Also at the Alvarado Transportation Center, we have a freight house, which is actually a building that isn't being used for anything right now. It's been boarded up. We've been doing some improvements there to clean it up as well and really just beautify it. We put silhouettes on the boarding so that it doesn't just look like a boarded up window, as well as fencing around it to keep people from loitering or tearing it up, as well as redoing the Santa Fe Freight House lighting in the neon lights. So you'll see that now that the lights are lit up from dusk to dawn. As far as our buses go, we're now cleaning the buses at our Central and Unser Transit Center just down the road here. Midday refresh is what we're calling it, so that they can get cleaned up. And we also have staff at the Alvarado Transportation Center that can help midday as well if we need a bus touched up. We've added larger trash bins and wipes to help with small messes and just quick touch-ups. And we also have a contractor that's cleaning the exterior of our vehicles now since the bus wash has been down. So really just a big shout out to our Adopt a Stop program volunteers and to our maintenance team for making that happen. These cleanliness initiatives have really made a visible improvement across Albuquerque, and we hope you're seeing the difference too, and we'll continue to drive our cleanliness forward. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Michael Davis. He's our Transit Deputy Director, and he's going to talk a little bit about our service and our vehicles. Michael.
Thanks, Leslie. In my role as Deputy Director over the Operations Division, there are shifts covering 20.5 hours of the day to provide a well-oiled machine in how we conduct transit operations to ensure we bring the best service possible to the city of Albuquerque. To give you some numbers from fiscal year 2024, we operated 3.5 million miles of service. We had about 6.7 million riders who traveled 20.8 million miles. And in just a week, buses are scheduled to make over 6,000 trips, covering 69,000 miles. In tying into our mission, reliability is one of those important values. To us, reliability means you can count on ABQ RIDE. The bus will be there when it's expected at the bus stop, and the bus stop will be safe. This also means that we're maintaining our fleet and making smart purchases of new vehicles. One of the new services that we launched this past year in March was our ABQ RIDE Connect service. This is a microtransit service that serves two zones in our city, the Southwest Mesa zone as well as the Rio Grande zone. And this service really fills in that first mile, last mile to connect people to fixed route buses. This service was deployed with 5 E-vans, and we've had over 8,000 boardings on this service. We have 1.72 boardings per service hour, and we're frequently reaching our goal of 2.4 boardings per service hour. 96% of our customers give this service a positive review, and I wanted to read just a couple of reviews from this service from passengers. This rideshare is helpful to those of us who rely on public transport. It not only helps those of us who have no cars, but it helps the elderly who cannot walk to a bus stop. This experience was spectacular, very accommodating for my family, who is struggling to get around in a time of need. This app and cost-free is even better as vehicles in the shop this week, so this free service is great. We delivered this year on several operational improvements. We brought back the crowd favorite Route 790 route, which goes from the west side of town to the university. We also improved our employee bids this last year. In customer service, which manages our 243 ride number, we implemented a new call tree as well as a callback feature, and our call abandon rates have decreased by 4%, as well as decreased wait times. 99% of calls are answered in 5 minutes or less. Sunband applications are now processed in an average of 10 days, exceeding federal guidelines. We have also built on last year's progress of removing barriers to the application process by having the application online, as well as shortening the application. Additionally, we went to a 5-day advanced scheduling system, which has reduced call volumes. In 2025, we're planning to acquire new software so that Sunband customers can book their trips online. And so we're excited to roll out this new software this coming year. For our fixed route service, we have had a net gain this year of 130 service hours. We're at about 65% of our pre-pandemic service hours. And we're really excited that we're able to continue to bring back more services over time. We're also excited that we're making progress on our fleet side, and having new vehicles is important to improving our reliability. When we purchase new vehicles, we purchase vehicles based on customers as well as drivers and maintenance. We want it to work for all three. Additionally, vehicles are out on the road, like I said, for over 20 hours a day, and so we need vehicles to be able to last during that mileage. They need to be accessible for our maintenance team. They need to get people from point A to point B safely. And the fuel source needs to be cost-effective and economical. It's critical for us to make responsible choices with our finances and our fleet additions to ensure we bring reliable and consistent service to the public. Nearly 100 years after the bus transit system was founded here with the Albuquerque Bus Company, buses are still the most efficient way to transport people where they need to go. We are meeting productivity levels that date back to 2017 with 29 riders per hour on our buses. This is really extreme productivity. We have added 78 new transit vehicles this fiscal year, including the vehicles that you see around us. We have 53 new CNG 40-foot buses, almost right directly behind us. We have 20 new Sunbands that are on both sides. We have 5 new e-transit vans and 4 new bus stop maintenance vehicles. And taxpayers paid about 16% of the total cost of these new vehicles. I wanted to end to give a huge shout out to our maintenance department division for them trying new processes to really be able to make sure that we had buses available for pullout each morning. And so what they have done has been amazing, and it's worked, and we're excited for the work that they're doing. All our employees do an amazing job, and we appreciate the work that they do. I'll now turn it over to Bobby Cisneros, Transit Deputy Director.
Thanks, Mike. Before I get into our safety, I'd like to talk about some other big projects we've been working on in our planning group. They've been working on the ABQ Forward plan. This has been a plan 3 years in the making. It's been fueled by community feedback with an emphasis on weekend service, night service, and frequency. The plan is now in phase 3, and this plan will help us bring back pre-pandemic service in a phased approach. We had almost 3,000 survey responses with over 1,000 text comments. Very positive feedback overall. 78% of those respondents felt like it was much better for the city overall, while 69% felt it was better for themselves. You can go to abqforward.com to get more information on this. In our training team, we're very excited about the work they've done. They continue to work with staff And as new staff comes in, they're able to help them get their CDL testing. This is huge because this helps save those new employees approximately $6,000. We're also excited because the training team has started to implement some leadership training for our staff. So we look forward to those improvements through the training team. Our Uptown Connect project, like Leslie mentioned earlier, is fully funded, and we're excited to kick that project off. We're anticipating to break ground in August of 25. This project's important because it brings many housing units to a part of town that doesn't have a whole lot of housing options. Approximately 13,000 individuals work in the area, and it's estimated that only 100 of those folks live in that area. So this is really needed for the area. It'll help with the housing crisis, the national housing crisis, and more importantly, we're there, so we'll be able to bring folks to and from their home and get them out to their doctor's appointments and school and other important issues. The mission tie-in that I like to speak about now is safety. In my role as deputy director, I've spent a lot of time focusing on the safety here at Transit. We've heard from folks about some safety concerns, and we've addressed it. Most recently, we've gone out and we've adjusted our rules to ride. We're taking we take this approach where we're serious about it. We're not going to take any nonsense out on our routes anymore. If we see issues, our safety team, our public safety officers get out there and they address it. But what I'm really proud about what this team has done is we've taken a compassionate approach. We remember that sometimes folks just need to be heard, and we're able to do that through conversations. In addition to using our officers out there, we've taken the IT has really helped us out. We've introduced the CSA app. The CSA app has been really helpful to us. It allows passengers to communicate to us, not only to let us know if stops are dirty or if buses are dirty, but if they see something happening out there that they know shouldn't be happening. I'll give you an example. Recently, we had someone use the CSA app to report individuals that appear to have been stealing a large amount of copper wire. And through that app, we were able to communicate to APD, and APD was able to follow these individuals from the Alvarado Transportation Center to our Louisiana stop and have a conversation with them and solve that issue immediately. It was quick, it was fast, and there was nobody had to get in any harm's way. It was really great. Kevin kind of mentioned this earlier, but along with the CSA app, IT has helped to get the more than 2,000 cameras across our system into the hands of the Real-Time Crime Center. That's very helpful when our transit officers are out there. They're able to identify situations so that we can take care of it before anything happens. All of our buses now have smoke detectors on it. We were hearing a lot of complaints of individuals smoking on the buses, so now those smoke detectors, thanks to the maintenance team, have been installed, and it just will alert folks that behavior is no longer allowed. Overall, I kind of mentioned earlier, through our partnerships with Metro Security, the transit safety officers, our contracted folks out there, ACS, we've really taken a community-based approach to folks. So if somebody's out there and they need help, we're going to be there to help them first and foremost. And overall, this has really created a safer environment. We've heard from drivers that this approach is working. They've seen a visible difference. We've heard from passengers multiple times about this approach working. With that, I'd like to really let Commander Bartlett speak to some of the efforts that they've been doing to help make this a success.
Thank you. My name is Gerard Bartlett, and I'm the, can everybody hear it? Is it good? My name is Gerard Bartlett, and I'm the commander of the Albuquerque Police Department's Crisis Intervention Division. That includes our Crisis Intervention section, our Prisoner Transport section, and the individuals you see. Of course, we have a direct line of communication now with our transit safety personnel, which allows an immediate response from police officers. Before I move forward, I did want to describe one very specific incident that kind of solidifies the way that looks, that tiered response. And two of our individuals here today were actually involved, so Police Service Aide Vanessa Garcia and Transit Safety Sergeant Randy Messick. So this three-tiered response in action, and just a little story to talk about what it looked like. So our police service aides will sometimes board the bus that they're going to ride at the Alvarado Transit Center downtown. During one particular morning, they were getting ready to board their bus. and there was a disturbance on the bus. The driver immediately reported that an individual tried to attack a member of our ridership. The police service aides immediately recognized this as a situation that was going to call for, more personnel and other personnel with a higher level of responsibility for enforcing rules to ride. So they notified our transit safety officers, and that included Sergeant Randy Messick and another one of our transit safety officers. Turns out, based on their preliminary observations and reports, it was actually a violent encounter. And what happened was Transit Safety Sergeant Randy Messick and another officer were able to keep eyes on that offender as he exited the bus and tried to leave the area. They were able to immediately relay to an officer, a sworn law enforcement officer, what that individual looked like, his description, and they were able to take that individual into custody and make an arrest. It was a truly perfect example of the way we see this system working out. And in that story, everything happened at the Alvarado Transit Center, which leads me to the next thing I wanted to talk about as far as an accomplishment. This year, we also increased our public safety footprint. The Albuquerque Police Department is continually evolving, and we have a huge commitment to organizational change. So our administration recognized that more of a footprint at the Alvarado Transportation Center would be a great asset as far as being a visible deterrent to any crime in the area or violations of rules to ride. So we now have a transit safety substation at the Alvarado Transit Center. One of the other initiatives that we took on at the Alvarado Transit Center was requesting a crime prevention through environmental design project, which was completed by our crime prevention specialists. And that took input from Director Keener and Director Cisneros, and as well as environmental analyzation from our crime prevention specialists. And from that, we were able to develop a plan to increase the visible deterrent nature of the property and make it less susceptible to violations of law. The last thing I really wanted to talk about, and I know we talk a lot about accomplishments at an end of the year press conference like this, but I also wanted to talk about some of our growing edges for the future, right? Procedural justice is very important to the Albuquerque Police Department. Approaching things fairly is very important to the Albuquerque Police Department. And one of the pillars of procedural justice is an opportunity for voice. So in 2025, what I really hope for us is that we take even more intentional approaches to listening to our ridership, listening to our community members, listening to our neighborhood associations, listening to our community policing councils to determine ways we can better our service to the city of Albuquerque and the ridership on our transit system. So, thank you.
Thank you. I just want to really quickly introduce Yvette Paras. She's a community member, and we're really happy to have her and her kids that ride the bus, and she'll talk a little bit about that. Thank you, Yvette.
Good morning, everyone. I've never done this before, so I'm a little bit nervous. I have some bullet points, but most of all, I'm going to talk from my heart because that's what my students are. I believe wholeheartedly in our program. I am an educational assistant with the special education department at Sandia High School. The program I work with is called CRL, and what that stands for is Career Readiness Learning. We have 4 components to our curriculum: functional English, functional math, life skills, and job skills. So what that entails is, learning to give change, knowing you're getting the right change, how to communicate with other people than the students they're with or the staff that they work for. Life skills, we cook, we bake, we practice personal hygiene, stuff like that. But one of our main components is that we take the kids off-site and they work, currently they work at the VA hospital. So what's involved in that is teaching them how to use public transportation, because a lot of our students in our program will not have access to personal transportation. They won't have, they'll have no idea how to get from point A to point B. The whole goal is when these students graduate, we want them to be able to live independently. Again, this is where the transit system comes in. So every Tuesday and Thursday, our whole day is spent not only working at the VA hospital, but riding public transportation. So if any of you are familiar with Albuquerque, Sandia High School is on the corner of Pennsylvania and Candelaria. We need to walk to a bus stop on Manal. The two routes that we utilize are Manal east and west, and then we transfer to San Mateo going north and south. There's a lot. This is the second year I've done this, and I've seen a lot of improvements on the bus. One of the things with special education students that a lot of them suffer from not feeling included. Even in the high school environment, you know, from general education students, they're always excluded. They feel singled out. And if you're in high school, and I know all of you have been in high school, you know what that feels like. It's lonely, it's sad. So what we try to instill in them is that it's okay to be a functioning member of the community. And so I have lots of stories I could tell in regards to commuting on the bus. One of the things is that we highly tell the students is that they will feel safe and secure. And part of that is getting on the bus, making eye contact with the bus driver. I want the bus driver to know that we're on the bus and that my students feel like they feel safe, they feel secure, whether they're with me or not, because eventually our goal is for these students to utilize the transit system when they get out of high school. I've seen improvement in safety. The customer service skills of the bus driver this year are just tremendous. I mean, our students feel welcomed. They greet us. I have a child that has mobility issues. She feels comfortable enough to ask the bus driver to lower the ramp for her. She suffers from a disability that her vision below her waistline is pretty non-existent, so she has a hard time stepping off a high ledge. The bus driver so conveniently lowers the ramp for her to get off the bus. One of our students is not able to read or write, and so what we do with him is show him that the bus driver, if there's an issue, the bus driver is there to communicate with him and help him. And so far that's worked out tremendously this year. Let's see, what else can I talk about? Boy, I'm at a loss for words. Let me look at my bullet points. That'll work. Hold on just a second. Where am I? Ooh. Another thing with the students on the bus is we have a set of rules that they follow with the school, and then we make it very clear when they get on the bus that there's rules that they need to follow while they're on the bus. One of the things that I really try to tell the students is that we're going to get on a bus where there's a diverse group of people, okay? And I think one thing, and I just practice this in everyday life, is to remind them that everybody on that bus is doing the best they can for that moment in their life. So no judgment, just because we don't want to be judged. No judgment, whoever's on that bus. Mind your business. If someone, is wanting to talk to you, you simply say hi to them, and then you continue without any incident onto the bus. A lot of these students that will graduate, this will be their only source of transportation, whether it be to a job, to the mall, to buy groceries, and it's a sense of independence. So in our lives and in their lives, the city transit department is essential to everyday life for them. Just another story, I had a young student last year start, very introvert, very afraid of everybody on the bus. And now he has no issue getting on the bus, talking to the bus driver, letting the bus driver know where we're from and where we're going, and that they'll be picking us up in the afternoon to bring us back to the school. So I've had encounters with several bus drivers, lots and lots of passengers. And when you're dealing with, we got a group of about 6 students that we take every Tuesday and Thursday. Again, they take us we go from Manal in Pennsylvania down to San Mateo and Manal. There we transfer, we get on a southbound bus going in the morning to the VA hospital. And then we come back north again on San Mateo to Manal. We disembark there, and then we go east on Manal up to Pennsylvania. One of the things is something as simple as pulling the little cord to let them know we want to get off the bus, to being able to talk to fellow students on the bus. One of the key things that we need with the children is they learn to communicate with people outside of the realm of students that we take. And again, the positive conversations that we've had with the bus driver, other passengers, I've noticed an increase of the bus being clean and the students feeling safe, because if you walk into a bus and it's not the best place to be, it kind of throws the students a little bit off. And anything in any of our students, they have autism, just a amount of disabilities. Anything can trigger an incident for our students. So the main thing that I think that what's important is safety, security, and communication, and making them feel that they belong riding a city bus, that they're just like anybody else in this town. Because after, like I said, a lot of times being excluded or not counted, we feel counted on the bus. We really do. We feel counted, and we feel like they're going to have a safe ride to wherever they're going. They also have learned to utilize the app that's provided and different routes around the city, whether they want to go to the mall. And they ask that question all the time. Is this just to take us to work? Absolutely not. You can go to the mall, you can go to the movies, wherever there's a bus route. You'll be picked up just like when we're going to school or to work. And there's probably one around your house. That's something we can look into if that's how you're going to utilize it. We do have a few success stories. Again, this is my second year. We have some graduates that we follow up with that use the bus to get to the Carpenters Union, because a lot of them do a lot of woodworking, work with their hands. We also do have some that work in the mall, food services. So all of these people continue to use city transportation as their main source of transportation. And I'd like to think not only did we provide that, but the city transportation provided that. Safety, education, and the willingness to want to get on the bus. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yvette, for being here today. I really appreciate hearing all of that. So thank you for hanging in with us. We've just got a few more things to cover. I just want to talk through some challenges, and then we'll do a look forward of 2025. So you've heard a lot of great things going on. We are still faced with the challenge of staffing being an issue, and it has been a tough one for us. And we do recognize and understand that to provide our service levels, we've got to get this under control. We did make some gains this year up until about October with our drivers. Unfortunately, we're back close to where we were this time last year. So despite our proactivity, it's been a challenge to hire bus drivers and mechanics, although they have done some things that have really helped to put us in a much better place on the vehicle availability side. So it does make it challenging to fulfill service levels and to get all the buses and drivers on the road as we need them on a daily basis. As a department, we are 64% of our full staffing levels. So we currently have 361 that are currently employed in the transit department. And 60% of our positions are driving positions. Our drivers without a CDL, so those are what we refer to as motor coach operators, we have 106 vacancies currently with a 42% vacancy rate. Over the summer, we did drop down to a 36% vacancy rate, so we can get there. But one positive note that I will say is our resignations have decreased substantially by about 60% since 2022. So I do believe we are on a good path here forward with our drivers. As far as our mechanics, we're still about a 47% vacancy rate there. We are bringing on 2 new mechanics next week, which is exciting. And the team, as I mentioned, has changed some processes to help with vehicle availability, which was really our challenge during the summer months when we had that lower driver vacancy rate. We were really dealing at that point with mechanic vacancies and not being able to have the buses ready for pullout. They've now gotten that under control. We do have some wins on the vehicle maintenance side with vacancies. Our vehicle servicers at this time last year were at about a 67% vacancy rate. They're now at a 43% vacancy rate, so that's really big impact for us. And then our mechanics at the Mechanic 2 level, they were at a 100% vacancy rate this time last year. They've dropped down to a 75% vacancy rate, and we expect that to drop to 50% after we get the new hire next week. So some big wins in that arena. What we're continuing to do going forward, and what we started to do this year, was providing incentives. So we did recently just add some hiring incentives to some of our positions that we didn't have before, especially on the vehicle maintenance side, which hopefully is why we're seeing some new candidates now. We did institute a differential pay for some of our abnormal work hours. CDL in-house training we had, but this is the first year that we were able to actually start the testing in-house. So that really helps us because we don't have to wait on delayed schedules. We can schedule all that ourselves. We've identified that our hiring events have been really successful in bringing folks in. So we're going to continue that going into 2025. We'll continue our rapid hiring events. We've had 6 since October of 23. Our next one will be January 10th. We've hired about 115 people here this year, lost about 99, so that's since November of 23. So I really say that because had we not focused on hiring in 23, you can imagine the position that we would be in with the losses that we would have. We'd probably be sitting here talking about cutting additional service, and we're not there. We're actually holding steady, which is a positive note for us. We've also filled a lot of key roles in 2024 at higher levels that will help to support our frontline staff. And then we're continuing to really push the employee recognition. We have an Employee of the Quarter that was instituted this year, which has been really great to celebrate our teams, and we'll continue to add those celebrations as we go into 2025. So in 2025, we're going to continue focusing on hiring, but we're also going to place a huge emphasis on our retention efforts to make sure that the people that we're bringing in the door, we're providing the proper support to, so that they are basically being hired to retire. And I know that that's a motto that the training team is really putting all their efforts towards. So big picture, ridership, despite those service challenges, our ridership is thriving. In the last 12 months, between all of our services, we've provided the community with over 7.2 million rides, and our fixed bus route ridership numbers are up. It's the highest numbers this October since February of 2020. So again, that really just leads us to the point that it's really important for us to start getting our staffing back in line so that we can start bringing on service, because the need is definitely there. We did onboard automatic passenger counters this year. This was a technology upgrade for helping us to more accurately gather data on what's going on with our ridership, and that will also help us to strategize for our route determinations, and will help us move forward into the future. This transition to our APCs should help us to increase to near 80% pre-pandemic ridership levels. And again, that's at a 65 pre-pandemic service level. So looking forward, we definitely expect to see our ridership to continue to increase. We do have a goal of returning back to pre-pandemic ridership, which is around the 9 million mark. So still about 2 million riders that we're trying to get over onto our system. We will be making some operational improvements. We are looking at procuring some new software, particularly right now for our Sunband paratransit side, that will help with the scheduling and our rider experience. And we're going to have a huge effort to strive to reduce our vacancy rates through our hiring and retention. We also will be revealing our new route network based off the ABQ Ride Forward study, and we'll be talking about that implementation. And we'll be preparing for the Route 66 Centennial along the Central Corridor, and that's going to entail replacing 55 of those bus shelters that are across the Central Corridor, which I think will be really amazing to see how beautiful that's going to look. At the Alvarado Transportation Center, the rail trail construction is expected to continue, and the first phase of that is the central or the north end of the ATC. And it will also be putting a cuckoo clock in that will be completed as part of the clock tower. As well as activating the north lobby with a cafe to really just bring some positive energy to that transportation center. We do have plans to launch a community-based volunteer transit program on top of our Adopt a Stop program in the spring. And then we'll start to see how the long-range security study gets implemented in 2025, but there will definitely be more strides to come in the safety arena. We are going to be awarding the contract to rehabilitate our bus wash here at Ken Sanchez. And then we'll start utilizing the funding that we received in 2023, that $43 million of funding from the $25 million of RAISE grant money for Uptown. As Mr. Cisneros mentioned, we will be doing groundbreaking in the fall. And then also the $18.2 million that we got awarded for our low or no emission grant in 2023. We'll begin a procurement process of the buses here this year with help from our consultants to make sure that we are making the most strategic of procurements. So I really do see a bright future here for ABQ Ride and for the city's transit system. We have a team that has their eyes focused on the road to providing a transit system everyone can be proud of and utilize to get them where they need to go. We are undergoing all of these improvements so that we can continue to move people where they need to be, and we will continue to make improvements to provide a great service in our car-dominated city so that when people give it a try, it's a positive experience and they'll want to repeat it again and again. The change underway at Transit is palpable. I hope you're seeing it. I hope you're experiencing it. And we have many positions available. I definitely want to plug that for anyone that wants to be a change agent and join our forward-moving team. 2025 is definitely going to be a year to remember. So with that, I think that covers all our updates. I'll go ahead and take any questions at this time if you all have any.